We're going to transition into more DeFi, specifically with HEX right now. If you guys are here enjoying the stream, we appreciate if you hit the like button. Thank you very much for joining us. Leave questions or comments in the chat. We've got an epic pump from HEX happening over last weekend, continuing into this week. I believe it hit the local top at some point earlier today at about 5.6 cents as far as what I was able to see. It has been going crazy. And a lot of events, if you kind of line them up, are starting to kind of make sense here. I'll just say this. Part of what Trevon said earlier, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Ewok, was that a lot of the outrage marketing stuff, whatever you want to call it, that Richard was doing throughout 2022 as, the HEX, and let's not be unfair to HEX, the price of everything totally plummeted. Right. Trevon was basically saying that in part could be to shake out some of the, I don't know, this might be too tinfoil hat, but like shake out some of the weaker hands in HEX.
Yeah.
Say it again.
No, go ahead. Weekends. I just echoed your sentiment.
So yeah, and the fact that it's went down to 1.7 cents and stuff like that, SEC talk, all this bearish stuff, and everybody, this is what you got to do. You have to buy into the fear. And I will victory lap right now that I put in tons of buy orders all around. I bought 1.8 cents, 1.9 cents, 2. I bought so much in that range. And it was over Christmas. It was easy to do. Everybody had the opportunity. It was over the week of Christmas. You were sitting there doing nothing, stuffing your face, and not going on Uniswap. So I don't know what to tell you if you missed out on it, but you missed it. The train has left the station, and I've gotten a 2x off all those buys and more. So, what do you think about that? Do you? I tend to not. I don't know. I think Richard is, did that stuff to help make HEX go viral eventually. Really, I think that's what it is. But now, mysteriously, whales come in, or somebody comes in, and there's all this action here, and it's like, hey, you missed it. It's gone now already. Those buys. So I don't know. What do you make of this price action? Because it's certainly been crazy. And yeah, good to see HEX do a big time pump off the lows. Now here up over 5 cents.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's been obviously pretty amazing little run up here. I hope it's not a buy a rumor, sell the news kind of thing event, pumping up into V3 launch. V3 isn't really going to be much of anything. It's not it's not the fork. So, I do hear this. I do want to kind of cover this a little bit, maybe not right now, but people calling it a snapshot, and it's really not a snapshot. There is a difference between a fork and a snapshot, but again, this is leading up to the V3 testnet launch. And people are getting excited. They feel something in the air. All of that outrage marketing was just to get eyes on Richard, to get eyes on HEX. People that see that type of stuff aren't normal Twitter crypto people, right? They're the high end people looking for the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci and the Prada, and then he's got some car guys that are watching him buy these Ferraris and Lamborghinis and the G-Wagon, and then you got all the watch guys. So there are so many different groups of people that got eyes on this, and they're going to sit back and they're going to watch. They're going to watch things, and they were probably watching the price go down just like everything else. And they waited for something to happen. Yeah, they didn't probably buy in at that 1.7 cent range or 2.4 or some of the amazing rates that you texted me when you were doing it. You're like, just got to buy, and it was amazing. But you hit those prices like a madman, just the way you timed it, and you got some amazing deals. I think the people that he was kind of reaching out, not to, but with his marketing tactics, they've been sitting here watching too, and now they're seeing some action. Seeing some big buys come in, seeing some big sells too. Somebody just a little bit ago sold 7.4 or 7.8 million HEX. So I'm not sure if they think this runs over or what's going on, but I just find it interesting There's people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars by selling, thinking it's going to go down. They're trying to time the market, and it goes up, and then they buy back in, and they get a worse position. So, you're going to have those traders with that trader mentality, and you're going to watch them the whole way up, and it's probably going to be funny from where they would have started if they had just let it there, and as opposed to what they're going to end up with by getting chopped up, and they keep missing that train. They're going to have to go to the next station and jump on it there. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing that I don't get is like, if you wanted to take advantage of these recent pumps, I don't understand getting out entirely and trying to time it or anything. I do understand de-risking. And I know like some hexagons that are, steel 5555, 100% staked. I get it. I know that's a different mindset and they're not going to do this. But if you want to keep, there you go, Andrew, 2.45 cents. But yeah, if you want to keep some liquid, we talked about this before the show, the point of staking is to not let your human emotions interfere and do something dumb. Well, also, I think keeping some liquid accomplishes that same thing, because now we're seeing this crazy price action, and we've heard of people emergency unstaking to sell once it got over 4 cents. It did like, and it's like, obviously that's unbelievably stupid. But like, to me, it's like, well, okay, to help assist you with those emotions, and this is why I do keep liquid HEX, I would want to keep some HEX liquid too. So if I wanted to take a little advantage of this recent price, because this is still crypto. I mean, yeah, 38% up to 38 or 38% APY on average with HEX in HEX is great, but so is like 10,000x from the bottom. And if you want to take some advantages with that along the way, hey, there's no harm in doing that. I mean, so I think people have to like this. It all comes back to your personality. You have to know what you're going to be like as an investor, trader, whatever you want to call it. And that's why I think having that flexibility is really important, because you're going to see more price action like this. We already talked about where it could go in the short term if we break 5.5 cents. And I'll let you speak to that, Ewok. How much room to run do you think we have? Like, what do you see here in the short term?
Well, short term, I think once we get past the 5 cent. Well, here, let's take a look. I switched it to the 10-minute chart just for shits and giggles here, because people like to see these quick pumps, but we'll change it back to the daily here and take a look. There's certain levels here that once we get up into this, if we can break through this 5.5 cent range, the next level is about 6.97 cents, because you got resistance here, and then over here again where it was resistance, and then it broke through, and then it became support. So there's that next level right in here, right around 7 cents. So it could shoot up once it gets done messing around in this level. There's always going to be buyers and sellers, right? But once liquidity gets eaten through whatever's happening, it can easily go. It doesn't take much to get up to that next level. And then we're sitting at 7 cents. And, those 2 whatever cent buys, you've tripled your money. Now you're looking at a 3x. So it doesn't take long, man. It just really, we can shoot right up through there. After that, there isn't a whole lot of liquidity until 10 cents. I think it can really, it can barrel right through that 7 cent range and all the way up to 10. I think it's really going to depend on what happens with V3. Richard's been quiet this week. There were a couple Wednesdays in a row we were getting our updates, and I didn't see anything today. So I'm
he
hoping
tweeted yesterday, but it wasn't.
He did. It wasn't really an update. Wasn't really a this is where we're at with the chain sync or anything like that. So yeah, who knows? I hope they didn't find a bug. I hope it's going well and they're just getting things prepared. Based on the timing of everything, they should be almost synced up. I think one of his big concerns was would it sync from scratch? And I think that's one of the things that they were looking for it to do. Maybe it didn't. So maybe there was a bug, and hopefully they can get it squared away, and they may have to start over, unfortunately, sinking from nothing, to make sure that it will do what it's supposed to do. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, as far as the technical analysis, where the market seems to be now, I mean, I'm sure you're confident the hex bottom is actually in now. I mean, I can't really
oh
think
yeah.
of anything. It is so, the thing is with hex is like, it's been so dependent on like some kind of news happening or not happening, or some kind of like massive flood scenario, or that's how it has seemed anyway. I
Yeah.
don't really know that that's what it is, because what specifically, other than whale buyers and things like that, really got it to pump right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
V3 hasn't been announced. I mean, like, yeah, Richard has been given some updates here and there, but it hasn't been anything. I don't know how many people. Yeah, V3 being out is definitely bullish, and people will be excited about it, and the price will continue to go up. But I mean, like you just kind of alluded to, once that has settled a little bit, I mean, Pulse Chain's still not out, So I mean, it's not something like terribly huge necessarily, and
Right.
people have seen other tech nets already before. So,
Sure. Well,
I'm saying that it's positive though. Go ahead.
Johnny Chaos said it well. It's all perception of value, and I think people are starting to realize that, hey, this might be the run up. Let's value this stuff a little bit more. And people are getting a little bit tighter fisted and don't want to part with it quite as easy. And they are looking to buy back in and get some of those positions. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think perception of value, understanding what they've got their hands on, and some of these new eyes coming in to play around and see what happens. Ivan on Tech, just he's the last couple of days he's been tweeting about Hex. Now I know some of these guys do it for engagement, because they're not getting the engagement from any other community. So
Exactly right.
that the Hexicans are all you got to do is tag Hex, and you get a lot of responses usually. So I do know that a lot of them will farm some engagement. But he made a comment earlier today about why is CMC gatekeeping, and I don't know if he was serious. I don't know if it was again engagement trolling kind of thing to get some posts going. But it's one of those things where we've been dealing with this for how many years? Locked at number 201 still to this day. You've got Yahoo Finance pulling their data from CoinMarketCap, and we're ranked what, 6 or 8 on there,
200.
and then CoinMarketCap ranks it at 201. So
Oh,
just the manual gatekeeping is still there. We've still got that, but that means we've got a long way to go. The walls have not come down yet. That just means opportunity for growth. So,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
once those walls do come down, the floodgates will open. It just hasn't happened yet. I still like to look at Coin Paprika for the actual ranking, because they're one of the few sites that actually rank it properly with the coins. You got Nomics, who changed their mind halfway through the last market and decided, well, we're not going to count some of these coins because we know they're the OA coins and they're just not circulating, so we're not going to count those. But so they changed the rules for Hex, but didn't say, well, you've got 1 million of Satoshi's coins that we know aren't moving. Same scenario, but they didn't change that at all. So it's just
Right.
those type of situations that once the gates kind of open up, um, it'll be that much more opportunity to get real eyes on what Hex really is.
Yeah, and you make a great point, Ewok, and that is, when there's still people denying it and calling it a scam and blah blah blah. Like, these are the things that you want to be in early. Maybe
Yep.
not necessarily every single one. You have to do your due diligence and things like that. I know many people that are into Hex are married to Hex. That's just the way it is. But when people are doing that, and it checks out as far as your own research, you usually are early, so, we have to remember that we are still there with Hex.